Some breaking news to start our program tonight. CBC News has learned Alberta is asking the federal government and the Canadian Red Cross for help. The province is dealing with a surge in COVID-19 cases, nearly 10,000 in the past week. Its hospitals are certainly feeling the strain. That's where the federal government comes in. The CBC's Aaron Collins joins us with more details on this now. Hi, Aaron. Good to see you. What exactly is Alberta? What is the province asking for?
Well, they're asking for help, and you nailed it there. Cases continue to surge here across the province, and from day to day, we can have the most new or active number of COVID-19 cases in the entire country, despite a much smaller population. So the situation's bad, and the province is reaching out to a couple organizations and asking for help, primarily the Canadian Red Cross and the federal government. And what they're looking for is help building field hospitals, which paints a pretty bleak and dire picture. We're hearing two from the Canadian Red Cross and 2 from the federal government. That's not going to involve staffing, but it is going to involve building those field hospitals, likely outside existing medical facilities, to help deal with what's expected to be a growing surge in people that need to access those ICUs and beds inside the hospital. So some bad news. We don't have all the details. We do understand that Alberta's Health Minister, Tyler Shandro, and the federal minister, Patty Hajdu, will be meeting to sort of hammer out those details later today.
Yeah, the big headline there, certainly that jumps out to me, is the idea of field hospitals and the necessity for them. We've heard stories, for example, in the past few days, Dr. Hinshaw talking about double bunking in ICUs and the possibility and the preparation for that. There's obviously been a huge political conversation in Alberta around, whether there should be more restrictions or how the province or how the government is dealing with that. How does that factor in here?
Yeah, there's been a divide, no question. And the Premier Jason Kenney, has wanted to rely on Albertans' personal responsibility, to give Albertans the opportunity to sort this out themselves. He's resisted, a big lockdown that a lot of, doctors have been calling for. But, the numbers don't lie, Vashi. I mean, we've got over 1,000 new cases a day in Alberta for coming on 2 weeks now. There doesn't seem to be any let up here. And as far as the numbers you mentioned for hospitals, we've got almost 500 people in hospitals. Of course, those numbers will tick up again at the bottom of the clock when we hear from the chief medical officer and the premier. And we've got almost 100 folks in ICU beds across the province, which earlier on in this pandemic, we heard that our capacity was in the 70s. So already past that, of course, the province has the ability to open up new spaces. But we know that the serious consequences of new cases of COVID-19 lag a couple weeks. So this is looking into the future, and the province must be looking into the tea leaves of these numbers and going, this isn't good, and it's not going to get better, and we got to get prepared for what's coming. And apparently what's coming might involve field hospitals, which is, not the news that Albertans were hoping for sure. And certainly what doctors in this province were warning people about in the weeks leading up to today.
Okay, thanks, Aaron. Really appreciate the update. The CBC's Aaron Collins for us in Alberta there to recap that reporting from my colleagues in Alberta, along with my colleague David Cochrane here in Ottawa. It looks like Alberta is asking the federal government as well as the Canadian Red Cross for help in setting up some field hospitals to deal with overcapacity in ICUs due to COVID-19 in that province. You'll see at the corner of your screen there, the premier of that province is expected to talk publicly, to address reporters at 5:30 Eastern. We'll carry that press conference live right here on CBC News Network. Now,